Hello, diary listeners. Welcome. I have a actual three-part diary entry that I'm introing today. First part today, we're meeting with Wheelyum Dee, and William, this first part of your three-part diary entry is going to be called "It's Cotton Candy," and everybody will see why. Enjoy, listeners. Welcome to the Apprenticeship Diaries, where raw meets refined.
Let's be real, we're still working on refining.
What it took, what it takes, and the stories that are made.
Join us as we learn from professionals about how their stories begin.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. For everybody listening, this is Wheelyum Dee, and he works at the Wilted Rose in Tennessee, correct?
Yes, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me, honestly.
Awesome. We had kind of a weird divine reconnection. We've been friends on Facebook for forever.
Oh, yeah.
But like a mutual almost scamming thing kind of reconnected us.
Oh, I know. It was crazy. Yeah. I got so many, like from you and other artists around the world, like, hey, is this you? I'm like, no. It was like 20 people a day were contacting me. Yeah.
Well, for posterity and for all of the people who actually, want to follow you and everything, can you talk about what happened? Because your IG, your IG got hacked, right?
Yeah, it got hacked. And so I guess, from my understanding, as other artists would tell me, that whoever hacked me was acting like me, reached out to a bunch of artists, reached out to a bunch of clients of mine. Well, the artists, they were saying, have you ever done like a sponsorship? I got sponsored, which I've never been sponsored. I've been tattooing 9 years. I've never been sponsored. So yeah, I don't even talk like that.
Same.
Yeah, when you and other ones showed me the messages, everything was like proper. It had like periods and exclamation points. It was like that's not even how I type. I don't even think I type like that and talk like that. I don't even pause and then talk again. I don't even, I just say what I say. But for the clients, they were telling them to want to get tattoos, send them deposits and everything else, which there was 2 clients that fell for it. So out of respect for the clients that didn't know any better, I'm going to go ahead and honor a full day of tattooing for both of them for free.
Aww.
Yeah, because it's not their fault. It just, next time, like I tell people, if you want to contact me, you come to the shop or you contact me on Facebook.
Right.
Facebook, yeah, because I will video call. You know me, I'll video call somebody in a heartbeat to make sure I'm talking to them.
Yeah. No, and that's awesome because like typically at the end of these kind of conversations, we go through how do you get in touch? How do you work with you? And we're just putting that out there right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just so people can know. And that was great. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was offered, it was like you were asking, and I've never been sponsored either and never asked. So that was what I told this person pretending to be you. And the account, I've seen other artists on there following it. It's Wheelyum with 2 L's. That's how they changed it. So I've since blocked this person and the supply company, quote unquote, that they were sending me to, which I'm pretty sure was all the same person or in cahoots.
Well, actually, I got the number. Some other artist finally got the number to the guy, and I called that number, and I was asking to speak to Wheelyum Dee. And the guy said, oh, this is he. And I was like, okay, well, this is Wheelyum Dee also. He's like, well, no, I'm Wheelyum Dee. I was like, okay, well, how can I set up an appointment with you? How much do you charge? And what is your special style? He didn't know anything. So I told him, I said, look, you just need to take it down because this is the real Wheelyum Dee. And then I got blocked after that. He hung up on me. But it is what it is, Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been tattooing, William?
I've been tattooing 9 years.
Awesome.
Only 9
Awesome.
years.
Well, let's go back. Like before you got into any of it, what were you doing? What was your life like? What brought you?
Well, I mean, I did a little bit of MMA, fighting and stuff like that. But also, I had like a regular, as I call it, a job. I worked at Volkswagen. I drove big trucks, everything. It just, anything that people had me to do at Volkswagen or whatever, I would do it. I would work overtime. I didn't care. Hot weather, cold weather, which now when I look back at it, I'm so blessed that I have this opportunity to do what I'm doing because I'm getting older and it's so hot outside now.
That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, don't let a tattoo artist bitch about their life, man. Like, we work in controlled spaces. Nobody's asking us to pick shit up. It's, like, it's not heavy lifting, I assure you. I mean, it's taxing because, people are taxing and it's hard to communicate effectively. But we're not oppressed.
No.
We're very blessed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
In
We
fact,
might get frustrated, but we're still blessed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'll say we're blessed.
I told a client of mine, like, I don't know if I made a case for my my profession, but we were discussing faith and she's like, I just don't see any proof of it. And I was like, are you freaking for real, man? Like, proof of it? I'm like, well, here's proof. We're tattooing right now. This is stupid. Okay. Like, what we're doing right now in terms of what one needs to exist. This is not. This is such a higher plane of luxury and reflection and all of this stuff that like we are doing something that nobody needs, but people want because it does have a significance. It does have a value. It does have something that we're doing together that's really, really cool. But if you look at it for what it is, I know a lot of people who don't get it, who just sit there and go, I don't get the hell what's happening over here. Like, this is stupid. And I'm like, you know what? I can see how you see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can really see how you see that.
I have to agree with you.
I mean, I wouldn't know it if I didn't get it, like if I didn't understand. Well, what moved you from the Volkswagen dealership and MMA to tattooing?
Well, when I was a young kid, my mom called me Doodle Bug.
I
was always drawing. Yeah.
Oh, for different reasons. My mom used to call my brother's private parts doodle bug, but it got elaborated on and called in much more vast terms. But go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you're good. That's funny. That's funny. But no, when I was younger, growing up, Mom used to call me Doodle Bug. Well, she called me Bug. Then she called me Doodle Bug because I would draw on anything. It didn't matter. Like I would draw on a wall, draw on a napkin. It didn't matter where I was at. I was always drawing on something. So I got in trouble a lot. So when I got a little older, I was 10 years old, 10, 11, I think it was. She said, Bug, I think when you get older, all that drawing, you should be a tattoo artist.
Oh,
I didn't know what she was talking about. I didn't know what a tattoo artist was at 10, 11 years old, and I asked her what it was. She said, well, she had tattoos. And she said, this is, you put art on people's skin or under or whatever they do, but they make it look pretty. And I said, okay. I didn't think nothing about it. So she passed away. And she passed away in 2006 of cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. But 2014, mid 2014, I was driving down the road and one of her songs came on. We played at the funeral. So I had to turn it up, start singing. I looked up and it said tattoo shop. And I was like, wow. Okay.
Wow.
So I went to the tattoo shop and asked the guy, and I have to, can I give his name? Who actually kind of got me? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
I got a tattoo from him back in 2005 because my daughter was murdered.
Oh my God.
So like I said, fast forward 2014. Eric Newby, he owns Ink Expressions in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I talked to him about doing apprenticeship, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So we figured out how much, whatever. So I came up there and did my apprenticeship, and then we had me and his dad had a little fallout. God rest his soul. I'm not saying anything bad about him. We just had a little fallout. So it turned in from every day to just one day a week.
Mm.
So one day a week, I went up there to learn how to tattoo. And Eric always told me, Wheelyum, don't give up. Stick with it. Don't give up. Stick with it. You have something there. So one day a week for a year, I became a professional tattoo artist. So-called.
Quote.
Yeah. So I think his dad owned the business at the time. So Eric signed off on me. And I appreciate it. He did. His dad didn't want me there. So I ventured out and went to another lady, which is Nancy Arp. She just passed away this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God bless her. So she let me work at her shop, Wicked Eyes. It's in Georgia. And super sweet lady, super nice. She can really draw. Like she can paint and really draw circles around, I'd say about 98% of the women and men that are here in this area. So I worked with her for some years, and then I wanted to travel, so I started, traveling and everything else. But, we'll talk more about that if other questions come up. But
yeah. Well, what did your initial with Eric apprenticeship look like? What did he have you do? Like have him? Yeah.
Oh my God. He didn't let me tattoo for about 3 months. Only thing I did was watch him. I cleaned tubes, mopped floors, swept, took out trash. I did basically anything he wanted me to. Like he said, hey, I want you to go to the store. Go get me a drink. Okay. I want you to go get me some food for everybody in the shop. Yes, sir. Because I approached it as I'm learning something. He's way better than me. So I'm just going to shut my mouth and do what I have to do to get better to be a tattoo artist, not just a tattooer. Right. So I did everything. And so like that, I still this day, every time I see him, I still say thank you, for giving me a shot. And he tells me, he said, well, I'm glad you still haven't gave up.
All right. Because this profession can definitely take you a lot of places.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you think that, because you did have your initial start with Volkswagen and stuff like that, but do you think that the martial arts training really helped you like kind of go into that space of being like a young Padawan, like early year learner? It's like whatever you say, Sensei.
Yeah. I have to agree, yes, because I was always in it all my life, but it was like dedication. Even sports, like me just playing sports, basketball, football. Well, my dad too, he was in the Marines.
Oh yeah.
24 years. So it was me and all my siblings. I'm not going to tell you how many there was living in a 3-bedroom house. But anyway, there was a lot of but him, he instilled a lot of discipline. Like we grew up in a time of the child to be seen and not heard. You do what you're supposed to be able to do what you want to in life is what he basically taught me and my sisters and my brothers and everything. He was a great man. My mom didn't even have to work because he wanted to be the sole provider. Yeah, he wanted to make sure that she was taken care of, all of us were taken care of, but we got what we needed, not what we wanted.
Right.
So I think a lot of that he instilled in me and also when I was little, I was 6, 7 years old, and he saw me just drawing all the time. And he told me to sit at the table and draw something to make sure I wasn't tracing. So I did. So he went out and spent $500-$600 on pen art. And this was back in the early 80s.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah, that was a lot of money. And I think he was only making $10 an hour to take care of all of us.
Oh,
Yeah, and he still took that money, put it aside or whatever. I didn't ask questions. We never asked questions growing up as a child. I still don't really ask a lot of questions nowadays, and people don't think I care. It's just I do care, but I just wait till people tell me. But after
yeah.
he bought me that, um, yeah, I used it everywhere. So like that, I was drawing all the time, or even still nowadays, if I'm just sitting there bored, I would just doodle a little cartoon face or something like that on a napkin, or even at the shop. I just start drawing on the calendar, on paperwork and and stuff like that. Just little roses or something. I don't know.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. I love that inspiration and origin story because it's not like my mom suggested tattooing, but it was I think just trying to be like, kid, make money, just make like you gotta you gotta figure out a focus, and and I when I started pursuing it, she was just like really I think that she was like kind of blindsided by what was involved in learning it and kind of what I would be exposed to in getting into that. And it kind of freaked
Right.
her out.
Right.
Until it didn't, until I'd been in it for a few years and she was like, oh, she's making money. Like, this is good. Like, it's fine. She's okay. She's, and it's great because
she has a career. Oh my God, she's doing great.
yeah. And
Yeah.
more than that, I think she was really excited that I wasn't beholden to a company that I think that really mattered to her. And I don't think that she really, yeah. In the beginning of my life, my mom was the one that was like, oh, you could work for Disney. And
Wow.
yeah, and we watched a lot of Disney films. She loved the medium, and it is an amazing medium. I mean,
Yeah.
animation is incredible. I just found out that I'm not a person who likes to draw the same thing over and over and over again.
I understand. I understand.
Yes. So I like the I love the people aspect of our, and it sounds like you're the same way. Like you had a lot of siblings growing up. I'm sure that was
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to learn to coexist with so many different personalities, and you find out that ends up like really infusing into your artwork and kind of being a meditative space
Yeah.
to go to regularly, but it's never the same. It's always influenced by
Mhm.
like all the
Oh, yeah.
noise.
I have to agree.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. Did you now this was 2014ish, so what were the big like because that's kind of the Renaissance area of like tattooing from what I remember. Like there was all these different machines out.
Yeah.
You weren't necessarily starting with coils like, the people who started in like the 90s or like
Mhm.
early 2000s. Though maybe you did. So how did he start you out?
He actually started me out at coils. He wanted
Okay.
me to learn how to operate a coil machine, how to break it down, how to put it back together, troubleshoot anything that might come up during the tattoo.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I already know how. I mean, I could pick up a coil machine and still use it today. As long as I figure out just different little things. Not going into detail because you already know.
Yeah.
You figure out little things of your hand and other
Yes.
stuff. As soon as I figure that out with any machine or any coil machine I pick up, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just gotta, like you gotta feel it out for a little bit and you gotta tune them and get them running the way that you need. There's a little bit of troubleshooting with them.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact too that a lot of people that are loyal to the coil, I love them and everything, but like you need a few of them to be able to have the kind of different range,
Right.
in tattooing, at least three,
Yeah.
kind of like, a small packer, kind of like, round shader, a liner, and like a mag to kind
Mhm.
of, compete with just one modern,
Oh,
rotary
yeah.
machine,
Oh, yeah.
really. But you can get some really beautiful, like buttery, like saturation. They're so nice. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't really like having that many things to fuck with personally. So I'm glad though. That's cool that you were at least vetted in that, which I do think is a great it's just historical, I feel, at this point. I skipped that over with with my only apprentice really that was successful. Just because I was like, we'll get you making money, then we can go into that. And she was like, what? I just feel like I'm not earning this. I'm like, earn what? Like, earn what? Like, get in there, make money. You're gonna cut your teeth on some serious shit because there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline that you're not anticipating.
Oh yeah.
One of them is just not even handling the machines and stuff, but like causing pain on somebody. Having a bad review. Like,
don't get me started on that.
Right. No, I know. So there's so many, like, there's so much that you're going to have to. I want you with a machine. We have all this technology now. Let's get you in there. You're going to have enough to digest. We can track it back once you kind of have a little bit of understanding. Because for me, anyway, I need like a point of reference to link it back to. So I started out with coils as well. It was all I knew.
Right.
And then I did another apprenticeship and we started out with a whole swath of different things. But I found that it was a lot easier to kind of pick up certain things that people were talking about. If having started in other spaces and really getting myself like time under the needle, playing with it. Right. And then I could go back to other different kind of machines and go, oh, that's why you do this. And that's why this hits this way. And that's why you run this voltage. And it, like, all the things were connecting. But like when people were showing it to me, I was like, how is this relevant? I don't understand. Like, it was very much so like Mr. Miyagi making me wax his floor. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, what are you showing me, man? Like, it seems like I'm just cleaning your fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm hope that a lot of people that listen to this, wow, my cat.
They're rude. They're made to be rude.
Getting jealous because I'm not paying her attention. But no, like the whole Miyagi reference, I hope that a lot of people get that because a lot of young artists or just young people in general do not get that reference whatsoever.
I know. Ralph Macchio, man, go look it up. Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Or Elizabeth Shue, back in the day when I was young, when that came out in 1985, I thought, oh man, I had the biggest crush on her as a kid. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Well, not only that, but like, I think it's important to, since we're kind of exploring this too, the level of hope that was given to our generation. Like we were pumped, man. Like we were sold something that I think in a very sad way is not being sold to the young generation anymore. And it's detrimental to everything because they're so cynical so quickly. And it's like, dude, don't just look at something like Karate Kid and think that would never happen in real life. Yes, it can happen. You have no idea what could happen. You have no idea about most things. You're just being kind of damned before you start. And that's no way to kind of, that's why I started this whole thing, was to have conversations with people and kind of illustrate it's a long, sucky road to awesome. And it's a lot of eating shit.
Yeah, that's a lot. A big old bowl.
Yeah.
Big bowl. Yeah.
And then, like the whole earn it thing, like, I think that there is a balance there, like it's a proper amount of feeding somebody and keeping them hungry, you know?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know the balance yet because I don't even know it for myself.
Right.
But I have noticed that's a thing. And there are people who are really keen on like how is just enough.
Oh yeah.
So when you went to work at your next shop, were you like then an artist and you just started working for her?
Well, my tattoo license said I was an artist. And yes, I went straight there and started working and started like doing names and, just the infinity signs and, the simple anchors and, all that stuff, yeah, I mean, I didn't do any big stuff right away because I knew I was still, I was like a professional apprentice.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's how I looked at it because I was like, man, this is, yeah, like I see all these other artists or like Nancy doing these big things. I'm like, oh man, I got nervous. I was like, wow, like this is kind of nerve wracking. So I
Right
just
on.
stepped with the small stuff. Like a lot of people don't see me do a lot of small stuff, but I actually still can. For anybody out there that wants me to do something small, I actually still can do the small stuff. It's actually really, I ain't gonna say
Refreshing.
easy, refreshing sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
can take a break from
Yes.
the big, what is it, the willism stuff that I do,
Yes.
and just, I mean, even like one day I did a Care Bear on this lady, and it was like, I don't know, it took me about 3 hours to do it. It wasn't that big,
Right.
but I took my time and I enjoyed doing it because it was just out of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, wow, this is, I didn't do anything, I don't think anything fancy to it. I just made it look nice, I guess.
Yeah.
Or, like you're tattooing, they always tell you to make sure when you first start tattooing, make sure you know how to do the lines, make sure they're nice, shading, make sure you got black where the black needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
When you do black and gray, make sure it's black and gray, not
Yeah.
gray and gray and gray.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all going to look black at first, but it's going to look gray when it's healed.
Exactly.
I just had people being like, it needs more black. Like that's all. That's all they just walk by and they would just look at my shit with my client there and be like, needs more black and leave. Like, I was like,
well,
the fuck?
A lot of people tell me that. Even clients are like, man, I love that Wheelyum Dee's art. I really do. Everything's custom. He has a unique style, but it's too dark. And I'm like, it's actually not too dark.
Yes.
Because I've learned the darker I go, well, I learned it later on after a couple of years of me tattooing that I wanted to go darker, higher contrast because I got tired of doing touch up.
Yep.
Yeah, because I went light because I didn't know what I was doing. Yep. A lot of it was self-taught.
Yes.
I was just winging it. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all out here. A lot of artists wing it at first. You can learn the technique, but to be if you want to be a good artist, like Picasso said, you steal. To be a great artist, no, or was it? It's backwards, wasn't it? But I stole a lot of like ideas. I saw a lot of things. Looked at a lot of magazines. Wanted to be a lot of different artists. Tried a lot of stuff. Yes, I messed up hundreds of people. Yeah, like beginning. Yeah, I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of artists won't tell you that.
Yeah.
But I did. I still, there's my first tattoo I ever did was on my sister. It was a Winnie the Pooh tattoo. And it's backwards on her arm, looking the outside. And you know me, and you see it on my Facebook, I gripe about that so much because the reason I gripe because I've done it a couple of times when I first started.
Yeah.
Until like you or another big time artist or somebody I look up to finally said, message me or call me.
Bro, I had to learn it.
Yeah, bro, you need to stop putting things backwards. You're just making the tattoo industry look like a joke. You keep messing it up. You keep putting it backwards. If you want to be somebody in this industry, do the right. Oh, I've been cussed out, talked too stern, which is fine.
Right.
Because it was artists, women artists, men artists would call me on my bullshit. And I'm glad, and honestly, I am so thankful that they gave me the tough love, because it made me a little bit better now,
Mm-hmm.
because I took what all y'all have said, and still today, I still ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Mine was, wow, it doesn't matter what mine was. Do you feel like everybody here has heard, whoever's here, and they're like, Amy, shut up. We know. Uh, um, do you ever feel like you were hazed unnecessarily, or like anyone might have told you things in a way that could have been, had it been framed better or had it been done better, you might have picked it up a lot sooner than the approach?
No, I am glad that they approached me with sternness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they cussed me out, talked down to me, telling me I need to quit tattooing. I'm not going to make it. You're just going to turn out to be a piece of shit artist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm glad, because in my mind, they kept telling me this, kept dogging me, talking about me. And I'm like, okay, so if I give up now, they were right. So I just kept pushing myself. And I don't know about you because you're the sweetest, but
Hardly not.
I still have, and you've probably seen it on social media, I still have haters or fans, as I call them, that talk about me constantly. I've never talked to or never even met in person. It's because he said, she said, your mama said, your granny, to your cousin, baby mama, that said, oh, Wheelyum Dee said this or did this. So I'm like, what did I do now? Please tell me.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
like,
fun sometimes.
It is. I love it. Yeah,
I had
love
my former boss, he came up to me at Ren Fair once and he was like, so we're having sex. And I was like, what? And he's there with his wife and I'm there with my boyfriend. We just walked up and I was like, what? And he's like, yep, we're having sex. My boyfriend's going, this better get good, like real fast. Like, what the fuck are you saying, bro? And he's like, yeah, that's what a former employee has been saying, that why he quit instead of why I fired him. That's what he's been telling all of our area. And I was like, we're famous. Yeah. He like looked at me. He was like, he was like inquisitive that there was not a lot of outrage. And then I looked at my boyfriend. I was like, well, it's not true, you idiot. I was like, of course it's not true. I was like,
exactly.
Analyze the source. Yeah. Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I was like, good. All news is good news. Let that just gossip mill go, man.
You have made it.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like on the cover of Star Magazine right now, baby. Yeah. Like, this is awesome.
Without the star.
I know, right? Like, I was like, this is great. And I was just like, okay, even if it was true, how does that make me any better or worse a tattoo artist? I mean, I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, we've seen some stuff, yeah.
It's not true, but like, still, that wouldn't impede me about being a good artist or not. Like, that's silly.
What you do in your personal time has nothing to do with your art skills.
Yeah.
I've always looked at that. I've always looked at it that way.
Yep. And I feel bad for haters. It's gotta suck.
I love them because every morning when I wake up, I look in the mirror and go, man, how many haters am I going to have today?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I do, I'm just doing something that they wish they could do. Like they could be me, or what is that saying? You want to be me, but you can't, or whatever. Right. I don't, every day I'm glad that I do have haters because it pushes me. It does. Yeah. It pushes me to get out of that bed, to get up and go do some art.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I'm like, they're following you low key. So why are you worried about me or say you or other great artists out here in the industry that we know that might be doing stuff that they're so-called not supposed to, but who cares? Look at the art. We're tattoo artists. Like we tattoo art on people. That's what people need to focus on, period. Like when I go to Walmart and I check out, do I care if the man or the woman checking me out like slept with their neighbor? No, I don't care about that. I just want to get my,
My stuff and go. Like I'm
yeah,
doing
my
my own
stuff and
thing.
go. Yeah, there you go. I don't really care. I don't care. I don't.
In recent years, the only way that I have like been more, I think, strategic about this is just I've indulged some haters for a while until it was just like I started like thinking about, to your point, I loved them at first and it was fun at first, and they had some fun digs that I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Um, but then after a while, it was just kind of like, because I really think the best is when you can just ignore it.
Mhm.
And what got to me was when friends of mine, like on social media spaces, friends of mine didn't know that this was like my troll. Like they didn't know, and they would be like they would get involved in these huge like things with them,
Yeah.
and I had to like hit them up on the back burner and be like, listen, I'm sorry. I probably, in all normal worlds, you would block this person, but I just try to ignore them.
Right.
Um, and you're like, please don't feel like you need to spend your time like defending
Yeah.
me. I know you're my friend, but like, this is a troll. Like, just God bless them, pray for them,
Yeah.
But it got so prevalent that like I was like, you know what? I just owe all these people a service of just blocking this idiot who's just so dead set on wasting people's time and,
Yeah.
and really wasting their own, because as you said,
Yeah.
it's kind of a kindness to be like, nope, I'm not going to let you do this to me. I'm not going to sit here and actively, because it takes a lot of energy to ignore them, honestly, because sometimes they
Yeah.
do hit a spot that it's like, I want to say something, but I know I shouldn't. I know that's what you want me to do, you dick.
Right. Right.
And then you're like fighting it. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. It's really tempting. Like it took me, oh my God, the longest, probably about 9 years to finally just like not even reply back. Because
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I mean,
Oh
I would
yeah.
reply back in a heartbeat. I even go to, even if it was other artists locally that would say stuff that wasn't true or want to be tough, I would go to their shop and meet them.
Good for you.
Oh yeah, I would walk up, meet them face to face, and they were like, "Oh crap!" Like yeah, like I did not. I still don't care to do that, which I will, but I have slowed down a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
People be
I,
having some guns on them.
yeah. Well, I mean, I like the Second Amendment because I can too.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I can carry what I can carry, um, but I have to admit though, like I've slowed down a lot in the past year because I have to admit, my best friends, real quick, Jamie and Sarah, they are my best friends. They have actually Jamie and Sarah got me on the map of tattooing.
Oh, that's awesome. So
If you
they're
want me to
worth.
tell the story real quick, I will tell you.
Yes, please. No,
Okay.
this is your origin story, of
Okay.
course.
So 2015 rolled around. It was like finally I got a good whole year into tattooing. Had this big old ego. I thought I was better than everybody. Blah blah blah. So I was like, I can take on anything. I could do whatever. Sarah came in the shop and wanted to get her fiance's tattoo covered up of his ex-wife's name.
Okay.
I said, okay, yeah, I should be able to do that. So she showed me. It was on his forearm, big old letters of his wife, big old heart, big flames, everything.
Oh
And I'm
God.
like, so I was like, okay. So I was like, she said, well, it's a secret. He doesn't know. So I was like, back then, I said, well, I could do a tap out session for $500.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any, I'm still new. I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about tap out. I didn't know how people really could take tattoos, you know? So I was talking, I was like, how about I do a Batman? And she goes, oh, he loves Batman. He loves all that. Oh my God. So he comes in.
Perfect.
almost 10 hours later, I finally got done with this Batman portrait on his arm. And as I was doing it, she was taking pictures of like every time we took a break, the process of it. And I posted, after I got done with it, I posted on social media, Facebook, whatever. And everybody's like, wow, where did this guy come from? He's doing this realistic stuff. A lot of people told me it looked like plastic.
Well, I had to interrupt us yet again. Little shout out to Paradise Tattoo Gathering. I had to do it, especially with this podcast, because Wheelyum is actually going to be tattooing at Paradise. So come check us out. If you are in the Massachusetts or any of the surrounding state areas, it's going to be a fantastic show. It always is. Lots popping off this year. What I know is they're just trying to keep scaling, and the foundation of this show is probably one of the most integral that I've come across. I think there's only been a couple others. So if you are a tattoo artist looking to level up, or if you are looking to be re-inspired, or if you just want to network, or if you just want to, take in all of the beautiful sights of Jiminy Peak, Massachusetts in October, right before Halloween, this show is for you. So please come join us. And now we can get back to our podcast. That's cool.
I didn't know what that meant.
You're like, is that a compliment?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, is that a compliment? Because the way I did the mask, it didn't look real. I guess it looked like plastic. I still haven't figured out how to do that again today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, I did it. And like I said, if it honestly wasn't for them also letting me do that, I would have never probably got noticed. I probably would have honestly got lost maybe into the tattoo bullcrap because I had a little bit of ego. I ain't gonna lie, because every apprentice, after they do a couple of little think they did a couple of good things, they have this little ego that, I got it. I got it. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, even Eric Newby reached out and said, dude, that is really good. He said, but the problem? I said, well, he goes, now you're going to have to do that type of work every time, and you're going to have to even grow it and get better. So then I got a little nervous. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? How did I do that? Oh my God, okay, I know I added a lot of black. So, I was like, oh my God, I just added a little purple, I added a little blue. And still this day, we're actually all roommates. We're best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, we're still roommates and stuff. And I tattoo them for free. Because like I said, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have probably got anywhere. If I didn't do that, like I said, I don't know where my career probably would have went. Honestly, I probably would have quit later because, I got tired of doing this and this, the little things and stuff, but I'm so thankful for them too. I really am. Anytime they want to tattoo, I'm like, I got you. I got you.
And now you know how to pay attention when you're experimenting, in those early days. I know exactly what you're talking about. In fact, there was a man when I was a barber. He's like, you've never cut my hair as good as the first time, right? And I was like, dude, you keep coming though. He's like, yeah, my secretary, she makes my appointments, and I just take what I can get. But he's like, what did you do that first time? I'm like, honestly, I have no idea. I swear I'm doing what I should be doing right now. He's like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Honestly,
shit.
I look back at the tattoo and I'm glad that they let me do it. And I did great, which I look at my stuff now, how it progressed. I think I've got a little bit better, but some days I'm like, am I missing something, or does everybody still recognize my art when they see it? My tattoos. Well, people go, oh, that's Wheelyum Dee. That's a Wheelism piece.
Yeah.
I still fight with that today.
Well, it's good that you wrestle with that. Because, you don't you don't want to come off as stealing somebody else's stuff. Like, and then it's not even that. It's more being influenced and more being inspired by someone. Because when we started talking again and we had our call, we talked about Joshua Carlton.
Oh God, yeah.
I know. And your work does look a lot like his. So we're meandering through these questions, so it's fine. But like, let's speak about that a little bit. Like, when did you first see Josh and like go, oh my God?
Yeah. And I had to say to Josh Carlton and his wife, Nicole, they are some awesome people. Even I'm just like even shaking a little bit, getting goosebumps because man, he is God rest his soul. Mm-hmm. He was one of the top influencers. Because when I first started, I wanted to be just a black and gray artist. I wanted to be like Tom Renshaw. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be like Bob Tyrell. Mm-hmm. Man, there's so many. Oh my God. I wanted to be like Joe Capo. I can't even pronounce his last name.
Capiabanco.
God, I wanted
Everybody
to be
calls him Joe Cap.
Yeah, Joe Cap. I wanted to be just like him. Oh my God. I wanted to be well,
there's so many styles, right? Like,
yeah,
and they're all amazing.
Like Paul Booth. Yeah, I wanted to be like Paul Booth. So I was just doing only black and gray. And I was sitting at the tattoo shop by myself one day. So we got a tattoo magazine. So I was like, oh, that's a new one. And then, so, yeah, that's a new one we got. She said, you check it out. It's okay. I just started flipping through it. You know, you just see like the Flash or, you know, you see good black and gray tattooists. And then all of a sudden I flipped to the middle and said, Joshua Carlton. Dad did an interview and it showed his work. And I'm like, is this real? Like, and I flipped the page and I was like, hold on. This guy's doing color, but it doesn't. I kept looking like I was confused. Like I told you, like, is this real? Like, is this guy doing this? So I'm like, who is this guy? So I was like, man, I wish I could tattoo like that. So I looked him up. I was like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. I seen a couple little videos. So I sent him a friend request. He accepted it. So I was fanboy, like, oh my God, he accepted my friend request. So then I was like, man,
he was a very, very, very genuine, sweet man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, I want to learn how to tattoo like this guy. So they had the video of how you can do color, and then you can do it. He had a color piece, and then he had a black and gray piece. And he showed how he made his stencils and everything else. And then he told you about how to set up, what machine, told you what liner to use, also what mag. And I bought that DVD. Every DVD he made, I had to buy it. I bought it every time. Like the first DVD he made was kind of like a cross-hatching, sketching technique where you can go silent. I did everything. Yep. Everything. I watched that video 100 times. Even before I tattooed, I watched it over and over before I tattooed. So then I was like, man, these people ain't coming in to let me do the stuff like he's doing. So I started doing them for free.
Yeah.
People.
That's a good way to do it.
I've done so many free tattoos, I think that I've actually made money. But it's okay. Maybe try that. So then I find out he made tattoo machines. He made 3 of them. He made a liner, he made a packer, and a cut back shader. I bought all of them. Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. The woman I was with at the time bought them for me as a gift. So I got it. Yeah, she bought them for me.
You gave credit where credit's due. That's awesome.
She bought them for me as a gift because she didn't want me to give up. She wanted me to get better. So I bought them and stuff. I kept bugging Josh, like, hey, should I do this? Should I change it? He's like, no, just leave him alone. I would contact him every day. So then time goes by, I started trying to do what he does. So then after a while, I'm not saying I do what he does, but it was kind of like you got Josh Carlton, then you got Timu Josh Carlton. Mm-hmm. So I was like the Timu of Josh Carlton. So it was kind of so much close to his work. So people started commenting on, say, hey man, your stuff looks like Josh Carlton's. And I was like, yes. So he finally commented one day, and oh my God, I was like, I ain't gonna say I cried, but I was like, are you serious? So I had to like call him. He talked to me and stuff like that, told me a lot of stuff. He's actually, even before he passed away, he sent me a lot of stuff for free to get better. He talked to me for hours and hours on video call. He's actually pointed out things that I need to do to make my stuff better. He said, I appreciate your style that you have as Willism. You have a little bit of mine. He said, you do, which is fine. He said, but you're also putting some of other stuff into it too. Yeah. So you have your own style. He said, which a lot of people, they will go 15, 20 something years and still don't even get a style in this industry.
Yeah.
And like he would, even when he found out I was dealing with the same things he was dealing with, he would call me every now and then and see how I was doing, how my biopsies came through, how my doctor's appointments. Try not to cry because
I know, because it's rough.
I always got to see him on video call, and I never got to meet him in person, which I always did. Which was one thing was cool. Brandon Bond, All or Nothing Tattoo in Atlanta. Yep. He reached out to me 2 years ago about doing a guest spot at his shop, and I was like, me? I ain't gonna lie. I was like, really? Me? He goes, yeah. He said, I like you come do a guest spot. And everybody knows Brandon Bond. He does have whatever, but as an artist, he is phenomenal.
He is incredible.
He is top notch. So when I got there, he's like, well, I know you love Josh Carlton a lot. I said, oh yeah. He goes, well, come here. He said, this is your booth for the week that you're here. He said, this is Josh Carlton's old tattoo booth when he used to work. When he first started tattooing, Josh Carlton tattooed with Brandon at that tattoo shop.
That is so cool. Yeah. And, regardless, it's always really wonderful because most of the time that I asked to do a guest spot, people were like, yeah, man, come. But there's one thing to be asked and then offered one. And it's really cool when you're offered one. And that's such a cool thing. So you were able to feel that vibe. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I was sitting there just kind of eating it up. And I did a couple, I guess, I think that was okay because I was more nervous because, you got Brandon Bond there. And then I'm like sitting in the booth of, Joshua Carlton, how he got his start from like when his first ever tattoos was there in that booth, and like to where he progressed. So it gave me hope. Honestly, like this is where he's set. And then all these years later, what he has done for this industry, what he has done for not just only me, but for everybody that tries their hardest and wants to be an artist, not just a tattooer, not just a rock star, but somebody that really is passionate about this career, this industry, which I get told a lot, I'm too passionate because some of the things I say or something like, okay, well that if other artists tell me this and I tell them, I said, well, then you're the problem.
Yeah.
If you're not as passionate as I am, then why are you still tattooing?
Yeah.
But
I've come across that. I've come across that a lot with a lot of different people. It makes people uncomfortable. It does because, they think they're doing something wrong. I think when they see a very willful person who attacks the things that they want so potently. And, a lot of people, man, like, and I get it because lately I've been a lot more like trying to like be on social media and it's a fucking cesspool, dude. Yeah. Like it's so.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even imagine growing up with this shit. Like it's like crack. It is.
Yeah, it is. I ain't gonna lie.
Really hard to turn. I have a lot of empathy for the younger generation. Let me tell you, which is why I like to do this too, is that like, you find your way here. You can, hear long form conversations of people that, have done it at different timelines, kind of give you their ideas of things. But yeah, like I think that everybody is going to try to lessen your shine. Because when you're really doing something, it's like what you said about the haters. It's like when you're doing stuff that, you know, shows that you have a direction in life, you know, the world will conspire to stop you.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's really important that that happens because it really does forge the purest kind of passion and the purest kind of heart. You know, it's like anything that's forged in fire, man, it comes out like stronger, you know, more ready to take on whatever things. And I do think that those are the earn it walls, you know, like hurdles that you have to go through. Yeah, you know, I always tell people, well, fuck me for caring, man. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
what do you care about? Like, let me trash something that you find valuable, bro. Like, because I've had people say that shit to me my whole life. Like, I was vegetarian at one point, and somebody was like, "Don't you think it's a little like, I don't know, a lot for you to dictate what you will and will not eat when other people are starving?" And I was like,
What the?
I was like, what?
Why do you care about me?
I know. I was like, how are you spending your time? What kind of outreach?
Yeah.
You're talking about like starving kids. Where's your outreach program?
Yeah.
You know,
you
like, are you feeding the hungry on a regular basis? Like, where is this opinion coming from? Or are you just trying to shit on me?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I know what you're doing, you dick. Like, I'm not a vegetarian anymore. I fucking love meat. But it was a moment. It was a moment. I was very passionate. Yeah, I love that. Because I noticed that a lot about your work too. And it does have its own style to it. What I like about your style is that it's clear that you really try to pull your client into there as well. You know, like I said this to a guy at Pagoda, and he was really like kind of abashed because he's like, I was trying to like get people for interviews.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I love your work. It reminds me of Crumb, the Crumb comics. And he's like, oh my God, that's so cool that you pick up that influence. I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I love that guy. He's like, it's so cool that you know him. I was like, well, he liked his ladies thick, so that's why I know him. He started laughing. He's like, you know, I would feel kind of like an imposter. I struggle with that a lot because I didn't have I self-taught traditional apprenticeship. Like, I don't even know if I have a style. I was like, oh, you do? I said, but what I like about your work is it suggests like a lot of care for the people that you work with, and really trying to combine what you do with what their vision is. And I said, and we're in a commercial industry, man. Like, you know, there are some artists that like, I think they go the route of like, everything's pre-drawn. It's like all their style. People like gush over it. They want it. Cool. I really get a lot of inspiration from my client. I really like tackling their ideas that like come from a very, you know, like core place. And I see that about your work is like, you can tell that you take their idea and marry it with what you do and what you bring to the table, which is great because, you know, there's something very integral about that. There's a lot of care for your client. And I think that that's great because it brings people into our world. It allows them to partake in something really cool that they thought they could just walk into a shop and buy, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to buy an orange juice. Well, whoa, buddy. Do you like pulp? Do you like Valencia oranges? Like what, you know, like fresh squeezed, you know, like.
I mean, that's true. You can't, I mean, people need to look at it more like that.
Yeah. And then pick it apart and like show people like all these things that you buy, all these things that you are a part of, that our luxurious society has had the benefit and blessing to be. There was a creator of those things that took all these questions and ran it through like a you know, a lot of different processes to get to this space. And when you can pull that apart and like bring your client into that, and let them take on certain questions about it. It's really neat. I wish I could embrace it a little bit more for my wedding as I'm thinking about it. Like friends of mine are like, what do you need? I'm like, I want it to be over. Like can I just have a wedding? And no, you got to have preferences. And I'm like, you guys, this is like having somebody craft a tattoo who never wanted one. It's like, I don't know, but I do see that about your work. Fused with a lot of Joshua Carlton influence, and it made perfect sense that you guys were very close like that. Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard from Nicholls, she's put out a blast that they're going to continue to sell his his creations, his lessons, and all that stuff, and give to charities that they all have always had, in the background going on. So the legacy will continue. So that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you can always marry what you do to that too, as time goes on. I'm sure he'll feel it from where he is now.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
He'll be there to like give you a big high five and a hug at this, when it's your time. Feel like, dude.
Sweet.
Yes, I know. It took a minute, but it was all pretty in the air.
Yeah.
No, I felt the same way about him, and that magazine, I believe it was Tattoo Society that really came out with him as like a headliner at first. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Tattoo Society is where I witnessed him first, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
That's actually what it was. Yeah. Tattoo Society. Yeah.
Great magazine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited now. I haven't invested in it, but I think you say Olingar it's what Jeff Gogwe is putting on with Laura Jade and all of them. They're producing a magazine.
Oligar.
Yeah, Oligar. Yeah. I've seen like the people involved, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get this magazine. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, their magazine is pretty cool. But Tattoo Society was like that kind of thing. It was like really trying to explore like people who are breaking the boundaries of the space. And that's why I said the question was
so on point. Like everything they asked was it was tattoo related, but also get to know the person. Mm-hmm. Like how you're doing. You're like, and I love this because it's not just asking me about tattooing, but you're like trying to get to know the real Wheelyum Dee than the social media so-called Wheelyum Dee.
Yes, because it's important to the client. One of my friends, Casey Hart, she's been on here twice and had multiple sessions, but she said, people found me, like clients found me through listening to your podcast and knew that I was the perfect artist for them. Oh. And I was like, wow, that's so great to hear, because I was like, that was part of the point, was like, you're going to sit for hours with an artist and, your style, I think her style is a little bit more done right now. Like it's very fine line, like beautiful, delicate mandala work and floral and stuff. But, I think when you're getting that kind of work, you really want somebody who kind of embodies that kind of persona. And that is her persona. Like that is her. So it really helped people like find her and realize how attached she was to her art. And people want to be a part of that, like that's important. Very important. And it's very synonymous, because I think we become, if you really are like you, where you wrestle, which, the term Israel is people who wrestle with God. So I think, true artists are people who wrestle with their kind of God sense, like their channel of like creation, like, okay, like, like they kind of like really want to like dive deep into that and pick it apart and like invest all this time and space. So, those kind of wrestlings with it ends up pulling out, I think, a style like Josh saw about you that's so you. Like it not only is you, but it draws in clients like you that will,
Right.
that will be able to sit for hours,
Oh God, yeah. The women sit so good too.
I know.
Like, oh my God, I love tattooing a woman because y'all women sit so good. Like, there's no, I don't know, there's no like, I have to take a break. There's no like griping. It's like you women can sit there on an iPad or read a book or even take a nap. And it's like,
The
wow.
hell?
So it's like, even though like a lot of my stuff that I do for women is like still my style, but still up some of the beauty or the, I ain't gonna say, how would you put it? Like, I try to make it a little bit brighter, not so dark, but also like,
Yes.
just, I don't know, just classy. I don't know if it's I don't even know what word I'm looking for. I'm just glad that there's women out here that do get tattoos because you guys are awesome. Like, I could sit there and tattoo women every day, even if I tattoo flowers every day or jewels or whatever in my style for a woman. I do not care because I know I'm not going to have to worry about every 10 minutes. Let's take a smoke break. This hurts. Oh my God. I feel like, I'm going to pass out. Can I get up? Da, da, da. Bro, I need to call somebody. What time are we? I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
But do you know, I have a philosophy. I don't know exactly why, but I think the reason why we do that better is because we're more allowed, I think, in the common concept to be vulnerable. And because we're allowed to feel pain, we embrace it really well. And we are uncomfortable a lot of the time. Like, a lot of being a lady is very uncomfortable. So like, it's just, we're just used to that. But I think in male world, it's hard to be vulnerable, especially in front of another guy. Cause you're like, it's like this, like, I'm breaking down, man. And I can't I can't show it. Like, you can't show it. Not in front of
But the dudes do, they like, man, can we, how many hours we got today? I'm like, well, you set up all day session for 7 hours. If like, okay, well, if I do like 3, I was like, no, you still have to pay me the amount for the all day.
Yeah.
If you quit after 3 hours, you're still paying me the full amount. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, that's how we
it
do
works.
it. That's how it works. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, a lot of them toughing it out, or they're just like, hey, bro, let's just go. Like, I've heard everybody tell me I have a light hand because I guess when they see me, they see this big scary guy, whatever. And it's like, man, you got like a really soft touch. And I'm like, well, yeah, like the needles are sharp. I don't have to
do much.
I don't have to do much. I just basically hold the machine and it kind of does what it does. Yeah. I just guide it. Like I tell people, I just guide the machine. That's all I'm thinking. The only thing I do, I just guide the machine.
Yep. One, I've noticed like a prudence about how you tackle things, which I think is good, so that you're not being too overly confident. You've noted that a couple times in our conversation already, that you've come in with a lot of confidence and be like, oh. So I can tell that, like, and that's something that's very artistically sound too, is you want to start out light and build up until and a lot of people you notice, like, if they start out really heavy, it's like, dude, you better be really sure that that's the mark you want to make, because there's no going back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even with like erasable kind of materials, if you're dealing with nice paper and graphite, you go too dark, man, you're not going to be able to erase it. Like, it's just there.
Exactly.
So I think that's a good quality to have, especially if like you're like, oh, I don't know, I want to feel this out a little bit and see where we're going with it before I really commit.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's like you said, I think that's a good admission, because I don't even think that I could say, like, when you said that I didn't know what I was doing, I can't even say that now I fully know. I'm just practiced enough to know that I'm sure I'll figure it out while I'm doing it. You know, like,
I think good artists like us and great artists, even better than us, I think they do a lot of happy mistakes, like a Bob
mm-hmm.
Ross.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, and I'll be honest. We talked about, because I was nervous coming on here. I get nervous because I've never done one of these. So this is like my first one ever.
This is awesome.
A lot of times, and I think the reason I have my style a little bit, because if I wipe an area and it looks good, if where I wipe looks good over here, I'm just going to add it over here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, I love how you did that. It's amazing how you know where to put it and do this. And I'm like, and I always say, I try.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, I know what I'm doing with certain parts, but also it's the happy mistakes that, like, hey,
I think you should leave about 15% of mystery. You know,
like we know the techniques,
mm-hmm.
we know the basics, but to be an artist, you have to explore a little bit. And there is, like, even painting and drawing, there's a lot of mistakes to get where you want, and then there's happy mistakes to get better, as I call it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you think that you gathered a lot of that when you started working at your second shop and you were around somebody who was a really good artist, and like, did she rub off?
Honestly, me saying this is no disrespect. No.
Okay.
Because she was a great artist, but she had her own style of tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
Her style was watercolor.
Gotcha.
And she did a lot of it, and she was really good at it. But I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to go like more realistic stuff. A lot of people see my stuff too, and they see maybe the background of some things I've done for women, and they go, "Oh, I like your watercolor." I'm like, "It's not watercolor." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Really?" I said, "No, it's cotton candy." And they're like, "What?" I said, "If you really look at it, it looks like a great day at the county fair, and everybody loves cotton candy. It has, because if you look at like, if you go back and look, I know you probably will.
I'm calling this episode that it's cotton candy.
Cotton candy. If you go back and look, if you really look at the color pieces for women, you will look at the background or something like that, and you go, wow, it does look, it's not water, it does look like cotton candy. Because as a kid, every time I went to the fair, the first thing I wanted to do is get cotton candy.
Aww.
I wanted to see the guy do the little swirl thing, and when he's doing all this and he makes it come out. To me, it was the most, I don't know, it was just like, I had like a child moment, like, wow, mm-hmm. This is, life can't get no better than this. And it was just a simple, and then when I got older, I found out how they did it. But to me, it was magical.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like Disney, like everybody loves, it was magical. When you go to Disney World, even as an adult, have you ever been?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Even
I was
as
real little
adult,
though.
Yeah. Even as an adult, when you go, when you're older, like I am, it's still magical. It's like, wow, even though it's just the performers, but anyway, the cotton candy, it's I don't know. It's just, I looked at it like that because I'll take different colors and just blend each one even together and do my little thing that I do special, which I'm not going too much in that right now, but I'll mix it all together. And they're like, man, because even the women, they always say, I love my tattoo, but Will, the way you did your cotton candy in the background, oh my God, I just love that. It just,
I love this term. I don't think I've ever known this term.
Yeah, like, well, I did it, like, I started doing it years and years ago, and people kept saying watercolor. I'm like, no, watercolor, I don't do watercolor, because a lot of people that do watercolor, it just sucks. It falls out. Yes. They don't know what they're doing. It just looks like crap. But the ones that really know what they're doing, they have a artist background. They know how to paint. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember her last name, but there's a woman, her name's Rachel. She does like a lot of watercolor flowers and stuff, but it's just so beautiful. I can't remember her last. She was in Texas. She's in another state. She went back home to her state. And
if I know this person.
Yeah, you probably do.
Probably know her art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when she does her flowers, yeah, it's watercolor, but it's just beautiful. It doesn't fall out. It's saturated, but it's just beautiful to look at. I
Yep.
can't do it. I ain't gonna lie. I can't do it. I wouldn't even try to do what she does. She's even told me, like, I started painting watercolor. Watch YouTube, and she'll tell me, hey, put a little bit more here or put some dots here.
Right.
Even in my paintings. But like, I was going to post like watercolor paintings I've done and everything else, and realistic paintings. People have seen them. I mean, I can actually draw and paint. But it's like I said, I don't do watercolor, people. It's cotton candy.
What do you usually use when you paint?
Huh?
What do you use when you paint?
I use acrylics first.
Okay.
I block everything in. Okay. And then I go back to oils. And sometimes here lately, I've been taking, it's funny, I've been taking spray cans and going over the top of the acrylics too.
Ooh.
To give it a more glare and a shine. So it will just pop out more. Because I like the dullness sometimes of a certain area, but then I want it brighter or make it more alive, as I call it. More. Yes. I don't know. I grew up in the age of like the 80s. Like we watched a lot of, like Legend. Watched, what is it? The Never Ending Story.
Yeah, Willow.
Willow. Still some of my greatest movies I love to watch. And they're fantasy that they made those movies. Somebody thought about this in their head and they made it, and it's beautiful. So I'll take different mediums and put it together. Like I said, if it looks good, like I said, it's a happy mistake that I actually got it right. And if it looks good, it looks good. And you know us, it might look great to 1,000 people out there, but to me, I'm like, man, I forgot to add that yellow right there.
I got
man, I could have put more purple there. Yeah, you already know. Yeah. But yeah, people, like I said, it's not watercolor. If you would like to get more of my cotton candy, it's cotton candy. Yeah. It's cotton candy, people.
Okay. Now you know. Now you know the origin of cotton candy. Thank you so much, Wheelyum. We will have you as a spotlight for the next 2 weeks. So listeners, please come back. There's more. It's an awesome conversation. I don't really call what I do interviews anymore. I mean, you learn a lot about a person, but I think that you learn more when it's less formal and it's more of something that's long form and conversational. So come back next week because we have a part 2 and then we'll have a part 3. I would navigate you all to IG to follow Wheelyum, but as we learned at the top of this episode, that has been captured by a nefarious villain. So we're going to rather send you to Facebook. It's Wheelyum, and it's an interesting way to spell that. It's like wheel, WHEEL, and then yum, YUM, and then D. D is very, very easy, DEE. That is where you can find Wheelyum and follow him, his work. He is a wonderful person, and we thank him very much for all of the time that he gave to this podcast. Thank you so much. And as always, God bless you, listeners. We would be nothing without you. So you are in our hearts, and I am praying that we all have a very powerful week. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. You can find the Apprenticeship Diaries on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our IG is _apprenticeship_diaries. If you would like to offer constructive criticism or an interview, drop us an email at theapprenticeshipdiaries@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from our listeners.